Ladies and gentlemen, marriage is a big deal. It's a complicated journey between two people built on trust, giving things up, and most of all, duty. But what happens when one person refuses to take on that duty, when a husband, instead of helping and lifting up his wife, treats her like just a part of his own weak self? That, my friends, is where self-love ruins the very start of a relationship. A husband who only thinks about himself is not looking for a connection built on shared respect, love, or an emotional tie. Instead, his main aim is to have power. Everything he does in the marriage is set up so he keeps the upper hand over his wife, her thoughts, her feelings, and in the end, her sense of who she is. This power is not always clear or violent. Often it is sneaky, quiet, and messes with her mind deeply. The need for power in a self-loving person comes from a hidden feeling of doubt, even though he acts confident and better than others. Inside, he is easily hurt, desperate to hold on to a sense of being in control over those closest to him. His wife, being the closest person in his life, becomes the main person he aims at with this need for power. In the early parts of the relationship, the self-loving husband may look charming, like he cares, and almost too good to be true. He gives his wife lots of attention, making her feel like the most important person in the world. This is not real love, but a stage of making her feel perfect, meant to get an emotional hold on her. He creates a fake feeling of close emotional ties, but this is only a trick to gain her trust and reliance on him. Once she has given him her heart, the way they act changes slowly, so slowly you barely notice. He starts taking charge, telling her what to do with her life in a way that feels normal at first. He may say his control is for her safety, because he cares, or out of love. What begins as small suggestions, like how she should dress, who she should spend time with, how she should speak, gradually escalates into totally controlling her personal freedom. One of the main ways a self-loving husband stays in control is by making her doubt her own mind. He always makes her question what she sees, making her doubt her own truth. If she says his actions make her feel bad, he says she is overdoing it when she worries. If she catches him in a lie, he says it is not true so strongly that she starts to doubt herself. This mind trick, widely known as gaslighting, makes sure that she becomes more and more dependent on him for a sense of what is real. The more she doubts herself, the easier she is to control. Over time, she may find herself saying sorry for things that were never her fault, feeling bad for trying to get her own needs met, and struggling to trust her own feelings. Another strong trick he uses is changing his emotions suddenly. One moment he may be loving and caring, and the next he is cold and distant. This on and off attention keeps his wife feeling tense and unsure, always looking for him to say she is good and wondering what she did wrong. The big ups and downs in feelings create a cycle of need, where she gets hooked on the times of warmth and validation he gives her sometimes. He teaches her to think that if she just tries a little harder, acts a little better, she can keep him happy. This constant effort to get his approval keeps her stuck in the relationship, even when it is causing very bad harm to her mind. A self-loving husband also uses ways to compare her to control how she feels about herself. He may often point out the good things about other women, quietly suggesting that she is not enough. He may remind her of how much people want him, making her feel as though she must always try hard to win his love. By doing so, he makes a state of doubt, making sure that she works without end to get him to approve of her. Even in times when she feels noticed, the quiet message is still clear. She is only good to him if she meets his standards that are always changing. Money control is another method he may use to stay in charge. He might tell her not to work, gently saying that it is not needed or that her job is better suited to supporting him. If she does have a career, he may hurt her career wins, talking down about what she achieves or making her feel bad for caring more about her job. By keeping her needing him for money, he makes sure that she feels stuck, with fewer ways to leave. This money control often comes with keeping her away from others. He tells her not to keep close ties with friends and family, either by fighting directly or by making situations that make her feel bad for spending time away from him. Over time, she finds herself more and more alone, with no one to go to for help. In public, the self-loving husband often shows himself as charming, successful, and deeply loyal to his wife. He makes a fake idea of himself that is the opposite of the truth of what happens in private. Friends, family, and even people he works with may see him as the perfect husband, making it even harder for his wife to speak up. If she does try to express her problems, her struggles are not believed. People may tell her how lucky she is to have such a loyal partner, making her feel even more mixed up and unsure of herself. The The self-lover makes sure that his wife feels completely alone in what she is going through, making it even harder for her to break free from his control. She does not know herself anymore as the sure, separate person she once was. Her thoughts, feelings, and actions are ruled by what he wants, what makes him happy, what he hopes for, what his moods are, what he expects. She finds herself being extremely careful, trying to guess how he will act and changing how she behaves to keep things calm, even when she knows that something is very wrong. The fear of arguing, being rejected, or more mind tricks keeps her quiet. The self-loving husband gets energy from this way of acting, feeding off her emotional trouble while keeping his own sense of being better than her. Gaslighting and mind tricks are the main weapons a self-loving husband uses to keep his wife trapped in the relationship. These methods are not always obvious at first. They begin quietly with small ways of twisting what is real and end up as total power over her mind. A self-loving husband does not argue with facts. He changes the facts. He does not see his wife's emotions. He says they do not count. He is not looking for shared understanding. He takes over every talk to make sure that only his version of reality exists. Over time, his wife is trained to doubt her own thoughts, feelings, and ideas, making it easier for him to keep control over her. One of the most common forms of gaslighting is saying no. If his wife brings up something he said or did that hurt her, he totally says it never happened. He tells her she is imagining things, being too sensitive, or twisting his words. If she has proof, he says it is not important, says she is playing games, or moves the fault onto her. This constant saying no creates confusion, making her doubt what she remembers and what she sees. She begins to wonder if she is the problem, if she is truly seeing things wrong, and if she is somehow the reason for the tension in the relationship. This is exactly what the self-lover wants, to make her doubt herself so that she relies on him to define what is real. Another trick he uses is making her feelings seem small. He minimizes his wife's feelings, making her believe that her emotions are too big or not based on reason. If she expresses hurt, he responds with sarcasm, laughter, or uncaring words. He may say things like, "You always make a big deal out of nothing," or "You're too sensitive." This constant saying her feelings do not count leads her to hide how she feels, fearing that any attempt to express herself will lead to being made fun of or pushed away. She starts to believe that her feelings do not matter, which further helps the self-lover stay in control. Blaming her is another strong method in his armory. Instead of taking responsibility for his actions, he accuses his wife of the very things he is doing himself. If he is being dishonest, he accuses her of lying. If he is being distant with his feelings, he blames her for not being loving enough. If she argues with him about his controlling actions, he turns it around and claims that she is the one trying to control him. This makes her feel confused and wanting to protect herself, forcing her to constantly explain herself rather than hold him responsible. The self-loving husband also uses love and affection as a way to control. In the early parts of the relationship, he was attentive, loving, and deeply involved. But now he only holds back love when he wants to mess with her emotions. If she pleases him, he rewards her with affection, approval, and short moments of warmth. But if she upsets him, he pulls away, becomes cold, or gives her the silent treatment. This creates an emotional roller coaster, keeping her always nervous, desperately trying to get him to approve of her again. She starts believing that if she just acts the right way, he will return to being the loving man she once knew. She does not know that this cycle is done on purpose, meant to make her rely on his approval. Getting between her and others is another plan he uses. He may bring in a third party, whether it is a friend, family member, or even an ex-partner, to make her feel jealous, like she has to compete, or to make her doubt things. He quietly compares her to other women, suggesting that she is not as pretty, smart, or desirable. He might say things like, "My ex never used to complain about these things," or "Other women appreciate what I do for them." This method wears down how she feels about herself and keeps her fighting to get him to approve of her. It also separates her, making her feel as though she has to compete for his attention, even inside her own marriage. He also twists talks in a way that leaves her feeling tired and mentally drained. If she argues with him about something, he purposely takes the conversation off track, turning it into an argument about her faults, her past mistakes, or something totally different. He talks in circles, never dealing with the real issue until she is too annoyed or confused to keep going. This is a planned trick to avoid being responsible and move the fault onto her. In the end, she stops bringing up worries altogether, knowing that every talk will only leave her feeling worse. The self-loving husband plans to keep his wife away from outside help. He may make her start questioning her friends and family, suggesting that they are bad influences or do not truly care about her. If she tells someone her secrets about the problems in her marriage, he finds ways to make them seem unbelievable, telling her that they do not understand their relationship or that they are jealous. Over time, she becomes more and more dependent on him for emotional approval, cutting off the very people who could help her see the reality of the situation. Even when she knows that something is wrong, she feels trapped by the fear of what leaving might mean. The self-lover makes this worry bigger by making her believe that she will not survive without him. He tells her that no one else will love her, that she is too damaged, too emotional, or too hard to deal with. He reminds her of all the ways she has supposedly failed in the relationship, making her feel unworthy of happiness, distraining her feelings. Makes sure that even when she thinks about escaping, she tells herself that staying is the only choice. A self-loving husband cannot truly feel for her, which leads to her feelings being ignored all the time. At the core of his personality is an inability to truly understand or care about his wife's feelings, needs, or what she goes through. His world is all about himself, and his wife's feelings are either dismissed, made to seem small, or ignored unless they help him. This empty feeling in the relationship creates a place where the wife feels unseen, unheard, and deeply alone, even when she is physically present with her husband. In the beginning, he may have seemed deeply caring, giving her lots of affection, compliments, and approval. This stage, known as love bombing, was never about real care, but about getting power. Once she was emotionally invested, his attention started to disappear, replaced by not caring or just being mean. Her tries to show her feelings or needs get anger, being bothered, or silence. She starts to notice that her pain does not move him, her joy does not inspire him, and her struggles are treated as things that bother him rather than things he should worry about. When she expresses sadness or frustration, he may respond with annoyance, telling her that she is overreacting or making a big deal out of nothing. If she tries to share an important event, he may yawn, check his phone, or end the talk completely. If she cries, instead of helping her feel better, he may roll his eyes or walk away. Over time, she begins to stop herself from showing feelings, learning that being open only gets her pushed away or made fun of. She tells herself that her feelings are a burden, that she should not expect emotional help from her husband, and that she must manage everything on her own. A self-loving husband is also very much about giving and taking in his actions. He does not do nice things or give support unless there is something in it for him. If he does something seemingly caring, such as listening to her problems or helping her with something, he expects immediate being noticed and thanked. If she does not respond with too much appreciation, he may become angry, claiming that she is ungrateful or difficult. This creates a way of acting where she feels she must always notice even the smallest gestures, while he offers nothing in return. During hard times, when she most needs help, he becomes even more unavailable with his feelings. If she is struggling with work, health issues, or a personal loss, he distances himself rather than helping her feel better. Instead of listening or giving her comfort, he might dismiss her problems entirely, reminding her that other people have it worse or that she is being too emotional. If she is sick, he may act bothered rather than worried. If she achieves something personal, he may make it seem unimportant, change the topic, or even take credit for it. No matter what she goes through, she is left alone with her feelings. Talks with the self-loving husband are all about him. If she tries to share something about her day, he quickly starts talking about himself again. If she says she needs something, he takes it as a criticism and gets defensive. If she asks for emotional help, he may react with anger, as if she is being too needy or hard to please. Over time, she begins to feel invisible, as though her thoughts, feelings, and experiences do not matter. She may even stop telling him things altogether, knowing that any try to connect will be met with not caring or annoyance. One of the most painful aspects of being ignored with feelings is the loneliness it creates. She may find herself lying next to her husband every night, yet feeling completely separate. She watches other couples talk, laugh, and support each other, realizing that her relationship lacks even the most basic closeness of feelings. She may try to tell herself that this is normal, that men are simply less emotional, or that she's asking for too much. But deep down, she knows that something is missing, the lack of feeling for her. also shows in the way he reacts to fighting when disagreements happen. He does not think about her feelings or what she thinks. Instead of solving issues through talking and working together, he shuts down, gets angry, or turns the argument into an attack on who she is. He may use mean insults, bring up past mistakes, or dismiss her worries completely. Even when he is clearly wrong, he refuses to say sorry. If she expresses hurt, he claims that she is too sensitive. If she becomes emotional, he makes fun of her for overreacting. These methods make sure that she never gets the emotional approval she needs, keeping her stuck in a cycle of pain and self-doubt. The emotional ignoring goes beyond talking. He does not remember important dates, does not check in on how she is doing, and does not show interest in her thoughts or dreams. If she talks about what she hopes for, he may tell her not to, talk down about her goals, or change the topic. If she tries to discuss their relationship, he avoids the conversation altogether, making her feel as though she is the only one who cares. This ongoing lack of caring leaves her feeling empty, as though she is in a relationship where she gives everything and receives nothing in return. A self-loving husband also uses ignoring her as a way to punish her feelings. If she does something he dislikes or challenges him in any way, he may stop talking completely, refusing to speak to her for hours or even days. This silent treatment is meant to make her feel powerless, forcing her to beg for his attention or apologize for things she did not do. Over time, she learns that expressing herself leads to being abandoned, making her fear of standing up for herself bigger. The cycle of her feelings being ignored continues, slowly breaking down how she feels about herself. A self-loving husband carefully grows a public look that is completely different from the person he is when they are alone. To the outside world, he appears charming, appealing, and even someone to look up to. Friends, people he works with, and people he knows see a man who is confident, speaks well, and seems deeply loyal to his wife. He knows how to show himself in a way that gets him admiration and respect. He may be seen as the life of the party, the generous friend, or the successful professional who seems to have it all. His ability to control the story he tells is one of his most powerful tools because it creates a clear difference between what the world sees and what his wife experiences in private when he is in social settings. He is warm, engaging, and easily likable. He tells fun stories, praises his wife in front of others, and plays the part of the perfect husband. He may open doors for her, hold her hand, or speak highly of their relationship, making it look as though they share a deep tie. This public performance is meant to reinforce his reputation, while at the same time making her experiences seem wrong. If she were to speak up about the truth of their marriage, very few people would believe her. They would struggle to match the charming, generous man they know with the emotionally tricky and controlling husband she deals with in private. At home, the mask comes off, his time for her disappears, his charm fades, and his true nature is revealed. He becomes cold, distant, or just being mean. He dismisses her feelings, criticizes her constantly, and makes her feel as though she is never enough. The warmth he so easily displays in public is nowhere to be found when they are alone. She is left confused and emotionally drained, wondering how he can be so kind to everyone else, but so uncaring toward her. This difference deepens her feeling of being alone, making her feel as though she is living in two separate realities, one that the world sees and one that only she knows. When people outside the relationship praise him, she feels a huge sense of frustration and helplessness. Friends may tell her how lucky she is to have such a wonderful husband, supporting the idea that she should be thankful rather than questioning his behavior. If she tries to show any unhappiness, her struggles are not believed. People may say things like, "He doesn't seem like that kind of person," or "He always speaks so highly of you." This makes her second guess what she has gone through, wondering if she is the one who is seeing things wrong. The self-lover gets stronger from this way of acting because it makes sure that his wife remains trapped, unable to seek help from those who might otherwise help her. In addition to his charm, he carefully controls the story around their marriage. He quietly plants ideas in the minds of others that show himself as the loyal husband and his wife as too emotional, difficult, or even ungrateful. He may make jokes at her expense, showing her as high maintenance or hard to deal with. These comments, though seemingly harmless, work to make her seem unreliable in advance. If she ever tries to speak out about his behavior, people are more likely to dismiss her worries because they've already been trained to see her as the problem. The self-loving husband also enjoys using public displays of affection and big gestures of kindness as a way to stay in control. He may post pictures of them together, write sentimental messages on social media, or surprise her with gifts in front of others. These actions are not done out of love, but as a way to reinforce the false image of a perfect marriage. If she ever tries to leave or show his true nature, he can point to these public gestures as proof that he has always been a caring and loyal husband. This makes it even harder for her to break free, as she knows that others will struggle to believe her side of the story. He also manipulates situations to make himself appear like the victim. If she begins to pull away or show frustration, he plays the role of the misunderstood husband who is trying his best but is never appreciated. He may tell friends or family that he is struggling to make her happy, that she has changed, or that she is being distant for no reason. This trick not only gets him sympathy, but also separates her further. When she finally reaches a breaking point and reacts emotionally, he uses it as proof of the story he has already crafted. He may tell others, "See, this is what I have to deal with," making it seem as though she is unstable or not thinking clearly. When conflicts arise, he makes sure that he controls the story. If she ever tells a friend or family member about his behavior, he quickly steps in to mess with the situation. He may reach out to those same people, showing himself as the worried husband who just doesn't know what to do anymore. He might say things like, "I love her, but she's been acting so different lately," or "I try so hard, but nothing I do is ever enough for her." These statements quietly move the fault onto her, making it appear as though she is the one making problems in the relationship. This difference, the loving, loyal husband in public and the cold, controlling partner in private, makes it nearly impossible for his wife to seek help. She knows that if she were to tell the truth, most people would not believe her. Even those closest to her may struggle to accept that the man they see and admire is able to use such mind tricks and meanness. She feels trapped, knowing that speaking out could result in more gaslighting, not being believed, or even social backlash. Self-loving husband gets stronger from control, and one of the most effective ways he stays in power over his wife is through money tricks. Money is not just a thing to use for him. It is a tool he uses to create reliance, limit her choices, and reinforce his power. Whether he earns the most of the household money or makes sure that she has no money of her own, his goal is the same: to make it nearly impossible for her to leave or make choices without his approval. In many cases, he insists on being the only person handling money, not out of kindness, but because it allows him to say how money is spent. He may encourage his wife to quit her job, promising to take care of everything while quietly stripping her of any power over money. What begins as an offer of help eventually turns into a way of control, where she has to ask for money even for basic things. Over time, she finds herself in a position where she cannot make purchases, pay bills, or handle money matters without his permission. This reliance makes sure that she stays trapped, unable to make her own choices or think about leaving the relationship. If she does work, he hurts her confidence about money in different ways. He may tell her not to move up in her career, talking down about what she wants or making her feel as though her success is a threat to their relationship. He may mess up her time between job and home by creating unnecessary stress at home, making it harder for her to focus on her job. He may even make her feel guilty for spending time at work, saying she is ignoring him or the family. These methods wear her down over time, making her feel as though she cannot do well professionally, without causing problems in her marriage. Controlling the household. Money is another way he keeps her under his rule. He may check every transaction, questioning every dollar spent, or setting strict limits that only he can change. Even if she has access to a shared account, she may be required to explain why she spent money, as though she is a child being given an allowance. If she spends money in a way he disapproves of, he may respond with anger, pulling away, or even money punishment, such as stopping her access to funds. The message is clear. She must follow his rules or suffer. Another common trick is keeping her in the dark about money matters. He may insist on handling all the bills, savings, and big purchases, refusing to share information about their money situation. She may not even know how much money they have, how their debts are managed, or what their money future looks like. By hiding this knowledge, he makes sure that she remains dependent on him, unable to make smart choices or plan for her own future. If she ever thinks about leaving, the uncertainty of her money situation becomes a big obstacle, making her feel as though she has no way to survive on her own. He may also use saying he will take away money to make her obey if she ever challenges him. He may remind her that she has no money of her own, no place to go, and no way to support herself. He may threaten to cut her off completely, knowing that without money, her choices are limited. If they have children, he may use their financial well-being as a way to put pressure on her, threatening to make it difficult for her to provide for them if she ever leaves. These threats create a sense of helplessness, making her feel as though staying is the only choice. Another trick is using money as a reward and punishment system. If she pleases him, he may be buying her gifts, taking her on trips, or giving her access to money. But if she upsets him, he may suddenly become strict, stopping financial help or making her feel bad for spending anything at all. This creates a mind reliance where she connects feeling safe with money, with keeping him happy, strengthening the cycle of control. Even in cases where she tries to be independent with money, he finds ways to mess up her efforts. If she wants to go back to school, start a business, or save money for herself, he may discourage her, telling her that it is not needed or unrealistic. If she does manage to earn money, he may pressure her to contribute everything to the household, leaving her with nothing of her own. He may even trick her into taking on debt in her name while keeping his own money situation secure, further trapping her in a state of reliance. If she ever worries about the money control, he dismisses her as being worried for no reason, ungrateful, or careless with money. He may accuse her of overspending or claim that he is only managing finances for her own good. This gaslighting makes her doubt her own judgment, making it harder for her to recognize how much he is tricking her. She begins to believe that she's unable to manage money and relies on him more. Money abuse is one of the most powerful tools in a self-loving husband's armory because it limits a woman's ability to make choices about her own life and makes sure that even if she sees the emotional and mind abuse in the relationship, she feels powerless to do anything about it. Without being independent with money, she struggles to see a way out, making it easier for him to stay in control. The longer this way of acting continues, the more she feels stuck in a situation where escaping seems impossible. A self-loving husband gets stronger from mind tricks, using many ways to destroy his wife's confidence, sense of what is real, and how she feels about herself. His methods are quiet, planned, and often hard to see until a lot of harm has been done. His main goal is to create a way of acting where she doubts herself, puts his needs before her own, and stays trapped in a cycle of trying to get him to approve of her while never truly getting it. One of his most effective tricks is gaslighting. He twists reality to make his wife question what she sees, what she remembers, and even her sanity. If she argues with him about something hurtful he said, he denies it completely, claiming she is imagining things. If she remembers an event differently than he does, he insists that she is wrong or being too sensitive. Over time, she begins to doubt her own judgment, wondering if she is seeing situations wrong or being unfair to him. This wearing away of her trust in herself makes her more dependent on his version of reality, giving him even more power over her thoughts and feelings. He also constantly criticizes, both clearly and quietly. He may insult her directly, calling her weak, emotional, or ungrateful. But just as often, he delivers his criticism in ways that seem harmless on the surface. He might give backhanded compliments, such as, "You're actually looking decent today," or "You did well for someone like you." These statements plant seeds of self-doubt, making her feel as though she is never quite good enough. If she reacts to these remarks, he dismisses her worries, telling her she is too sensitive or overreacting. This pattern supports the idea that her emotions do not count, further destroying how she feels about herself. Another strong tool in his mind trick armory is moving the fault. No matter what happens, he makes sure that she feels responsible. If he gets angry, it is because she provoked him. If he ignores her, it is because she is too needy. If she is unhappy in the relationship, it is because she is never satisfied. This constant moving of the fault makes her believe that any problems in the marriage are her fault, leading her to work even harder to please him. She begins to be extremely careful, always checking her own behavior in an attempt to avoid him being unhappy. The self-loving husband also uses affection as a weapon, using it as a way to control rather than as a sign of love. When she behaves the way he wants, he may give her lots of attention, compliments, and affection. In these moments, she feels a small spark of hope, believing that things are getting better. But the moment she challenges him, says what she needs, or acts independently, he pulls away. He becomes cold, distant, or even cruel. Punishing her with silence or uncaringness, this on and off attention, creates a cycle where she constantly chases his approval, believing that if she just does things right, she can bring back the version of him that once seemed kind and loving. He also uses bringing in a third party to make her feel unsure and unworthy. He may compare her to other women, quietly or clearly, to make her feel as though she is not measuring up. He might praise an ex-girlfriend, a female person he works with, or even a random stranger in a way that makes her feel inadequate. This technique keeps her feeling nervous, always striving to be better, more attractive, or more agreeable in an attempt to secure his attention and affection. The constant feeling of competition makes her doubt her worth, leaving her emotionally tired. When all else fails, he uses emotional bursts to make her quiet. If she brings up something that upsets her, he might suddenly get very angry, turning the situation into a total argument that leaves her drained and wishing she had never even tried to express herself. He may slam doors, break objects, or yell, making her feel unsafe and powerless, or he may resort to the silent treatment, freezing her out until she apologizes or begs for his attention. This changing of moods makes sure that she learns to hide her needs and feelings to avoid fighting. Mind tricks also extend to how he controls the way others see her. He quietly shows her as unstable, too emotional, or difficult, so that if she ever reaches out for help, people are less likely to believe her. He may tell friends or family that she is struggling, making her feelings seem bigger in a way that makes her seem irrational. This damage to her reputation beforehand makes it harder for her to find approval or help, separating her further. He also uses making her feel bad as a weapon. If she ever thinks about putting herself first, he makes her feel selfish for doing so. If she says she needs some space for herself, he accuses her of not caring about him. If she ever brings up leaving, he suddenly plays the victim, claiming that she is abandoning him, that he has given her everything, or that she is the one destroying the marriage. He may even break down emotionally, showing a rare, weak moment that makes her question her decision. This keeps her trapped, feeling responsible for his well-being, even at the cost of her own. By the time she sees how much he is tricking her, she is often so mentally and emotionally tired that leaving feels impossible. She has spent so much time trying to fix things, doubting herself and hoping for change, that she struggles to see the reality of the situation. The mind cost of constant mind tricks makes it hard for her to trust her feelings or believe in her own strength. The harm is deep, affecting her confidence, her ability to make choices, and even her sense of who she is.